Today's guest is Amy Dowden.
And I just felt this lump. My husband and my parents were literally told that it was going to go one way or another in 16 hours. Blood pressure, my heart rate was so low. I was not responding to any treatment. It was kind of like touch and go.
So where are you now in recovery? Hi everybody, welcome back to On The Mend. This is the show where we look back at life's toughest moments to figure out how to move forward. Amy, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, everyone kind of knows you as, and I do, as this like the happiest, smiliest, kind of like amazing dancer from Strictly. But obviously this year has been beyond tough for you. I mean, do you want to kind of take us back to what this year has been?
Yeah, so I've had my fair few tough moments growing up with my Crohn's disease, but obviously recently my breast cancer diagnosis, which came as an absolute shock. I never thought at 32 years old I would be diagnosed with the devastating blow of a cancer diagnosis, but especially breast cancer. Yeah. And from that, I was literally told the news to watch your fertility plans. I just got married and obviously I'd love the honour of becoming a mum, and it's because they said that because I have a hormone-fed cancer, so they needed to be able to put me straight into menopause. Which was an absolute, I had my husband with me. I didn't know what he was thinking at the time, and that really hurt. I think that hurt at the time more than the cancer diagnosis.
Really?
So I literally was told this, and I had a mastectomy 6 weeks later. Then I had fertility treatment and was lucky enough to get 5 embryos.
Wow.
To then start chemotherapy. Which was the hardest part of my life and came with so many complications, sepsis to blood clots to breaking my foot, to then thinking, that was it. I'd been through it all, but then it's that really long, tough journey of recovery. I'd been put into menopause as well. And then the reality of, no, it doesn't go away. And then more recently with my medical team, we had to make the decision 12 weeks ago to have my other breast off. So it's been quite a rocky road, to say the least, but I am the type of person, and I think my dancing instilled this in me: don't get bitter, get better. I used Tom Hanks saying, "This too shall pass," to help me get through it. But I'd be lying and I wouldn't be doing anybody going through this any justice not to say that, it has been a really, really tough part of my life, and I've been at the lowest of points in my life where I sometimes didn't see how I was going to come out the other end or ever feel like Amy again, or see a future, see myself back on the dance floor. But I'm really grateful to be in the position I am now, and hopefully in maybe a year or two time the doctors can consider bringing me out of menopause and seeing if I can reboot. Chemo might have destroyed my reproductive organs, but who knows? Keeping the positive that hopefully I will be able to have children, but we've got 5 embryos, so I like to think there's always going to be an option somehow.
Yeah. Man, wow, what a year.
I kind of chucked all out at you then, didn't I?
That is the most intense year I've ever heard on this show.
Yeah.
That's so much. For people watching, we kind of know each other.
Yes.
We've met a couple of times at various things.
Yeah, obviously. At Copperfield Trek celebrations and through mutual friends, Tom and Giovanna Fletcher.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember seeing you backstage once at at a McFly gig.
That's right.
Yeah, I think you were on, Tom was on Strictly at the time with you.
Yes, that's
right. I saw you backstage.
Yeah.
And you were kind of going off, before he was going on stage, you were dancing.
That's correct. Yeah, we were having to train. I was on the road with McFly, which was so awesome. Yeah. I think everybody was quite jealous of me. Do you know what I mean? I was living my best life, dancing in the day with Tom Fletcher, and then on the side cheering on McFly. Yeah. Every night, which was so cool. Yeah. So I have to admit, I'm going to have to be Team McFly, because if it wasn't for Tom Fletcher, I wouldn't expect anything else. I wouldn't be alive.
Right, so can we go right back to the beginning? Can you take us back to the exact moment when you found the lump? Where were you when you found that?
So I was away with my dance school. My husband and I run a dance academy, and we were in Blackpool, and all of our kids were competing for the weekend at the British Open Championships.
Wow.
And it's full on.
So you do that as well as Strictly?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wow.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And we fundraise all year to get all the kids' outfits because I like it that every child who walks through my dance school gets the opportunity to go dance at Blackburn.
Wow.
So it's a full-on day because we started makeup at 5:30 in the morning. And we were in a B&B in Blackpool. And they're not the biggest because we like to stay where all of our dance school can stay as well in his carnage. I mean, the kids are playing knock knock ginger on the doors and running around And so it's a tiny shower, thank goodness. And then all of a sudden I just felt this lump. And I just knew. I had this gut feeling that this isn't good. And then I was like, I haven't got time for this. It's such a busy day. But in the ballroom, all day was in the back of my mind, this lump. But the next morning I was flying to the Maldives on my honeymoon, a long-awaited honeymoon with my husband, because we was meant to have got married in 2020, the pandemic. We postponed it so many times on our honeymoon that finally got married. We still had to wait a while because the only date we could get married was just before I started Strictly. So we planned the honeymoon for afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I can't tell my husband, Ben, about my lump because he won't want to go on this honeymoon. But we really needed this break together. We'd been so busy. I'd been away for so many months with Strictly in the tour. So I went on the honeymoon and every day you're rubbing suntan cream lotion into your face. And I think in my mind, I could just feel it getting bigger. It probably wasn't, but because I noticed it.
Yeah.
And I started, as you shouldn't, Googling it.
Yeah.
And what you find is never good on Google. I'd been messaging someone I'd worked with previously who was in her 50s and just been through a cancer diagnosis and asking her questions about how she found it. And she found that very weird. But
you weren't saying you'd found something, you were just asking questions.
No, right. And one of my closest friends, Jenny, had just been through it. So I couldn't mention anything to her because I think it was still a bit raw for her, but she would have known because she knows me through and through. And I was just really worried the whole holiday. I can remember one day cycling back to our water villa and thinking, looking out to the sea, thinking, this is going to maybe be my last ever holiday. Your mind takes you to the craziest of places. And then I got back from the honeymoon and I had my brother's wedding that weekend. I'd arranged to see the doctor at the GP afterwards. But I can just remember even being at my brother's wedding, and going into the toilets and having a little cry and thinking, I might not watch my gorgeous nephew's only one grow up, and trying to act like everything was normal. The day after my brother's wedding was the Queen Jubilee. And I was presenting live down the lens from Cardiff. And I had to interview. Sorry, it wasn't the Queen's Jubilee, it was the King's coronation, sorry. And I had to interview the King's harpist. And she'd came in and she just had hair growing back from breast cancer. And in my mind, I was like, this is kind of showing me that, I don't know, it was like a message saying to me, you've got it. And I just knew. And I went back that night thinking, I've definitely got it. I went to the doctor's appointment on my own. Didn't want to tell my husband. And at first, you could see that the doctor was really not worried. Was like, and I explained my mother had it, but she said she was in her 50s. You're fine. You're so young. I'm sure it's just a cyst. Yeah. And then she came and she felt it, and I could tell in her face how everything changed. And she immediately picked up the phone in front of me and said, I need to make an emergency referral. She measured my lump. And then I went and performed on stage that night with my husband in the show, and he didn't have a clue. I didn't say anything. And then the whirlwind started then from needing to go in. My best friend knew something was wrong with me. And I went, I kind of explained to her I felt this lump. And so
the first person you told was your best friend? And
my twin sister, yeah.
Oh, okay.
In between, I'd rang my twin sister crying down the phone. And I don't think she was too worried. I think she thought it was a cyst and nothing to worry about. And then my best friend knew, and I was going to this appointment. She didn't want me to go on my own, but the kids had another dance school event, and she needed to do all the hairs for it whilst my appointment was on. I was like, no, everyone will know something's wrong if you're with me. Ben was teaching in a school, a private school we teach, and I said, nope, I'm going to be fine. And then she kept ringing me, and I was in our appointment, and the doctor said, right, you're going to go in for an ultrasound. I'm pretty sure they're going to say to you, it's a cyst and you're going to walk out the doors and everything's going to be fine. If I walk in, we found something. But I'd already Googled what it looked like on the screen. So I'm looking in the ultrasound and I could see, but there wasn't just one lump. And there was more. And the radiologist said, can you feel anything else? I was like, no. And I could see there was 2 others. And the next thing, he left the room and next walked in a breast nurse and the doctor. And he was like, oh, as you know, like I said, we have found something. We need to do a biopsy. We're going to do that right now. And we're going to send you in for a mammogram. And the nurse said, you need to get somebody here. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. I went outside. My friend was ringing me, Carla. And she rang me and she was like, everything okay? I was like, oh, yeah, just need some tests. And the nurse said very loudly, Amy, you need to get somebody here. And in that moment, my best friend, she says when she reads my book or whatever she is, me speaking about it, she gets upset because she said in her head she knew Amy's got cancer in that very moment. She said, I'm going to leave the studio, the dance studio. And I was like, you can't, you've got to do all the kids here. We can't let the kids down. And she said, Amy, you can't be there on your own. The nurse have just said that. She put the phone down and she decided, now, it's Ben who needs to be there. So she called Ben, who had no idea where I was. And she said, Ben, you need to get to hospital. He thought I was ill with my stomach problems. She was like, no. Yeah. And he was like, she explained and he went, do you think she's got cancer? Like Ben just said it. And she was like, well, I think so, Ben. And he was like, no way, she's going to be fine. He was with my best friend who was my bridesmaid teaching, and he just walked in and went, Katie, I need to go. And he had to leave her. He drove her at the school. And she said, why? And this is Ben, so black and white. He went, I think Amy got cancer. And he just left Katie in that scenario.
Oh my God, yeah.
He got to the hospital and he just looked at me and said, everything's going to be fine. And they explained that we've done a biopsy. We won't be able to tell you for a couple of days yet. We're not sure, but it doesn't look particularly great. And I decided then, I'd had the biopsy. I was quite sore to still go to that competition all weekend, but everybody knew something was wrong with me. And we were in London training a couple of days later, having dance lessons with our coach who was over from America. And in the break of lessons, we were literally on the streets of London. I had loads of missed phone calls and Ben went, that's the hospital. He said, ring them back. And I was like, no, it's fine. I just knew. It was just like, why are they ringing me so much? And I think I just wanted to carry on and pretend it wasn't actually happening. Yeah. I just wanted to enjoy my dance lessons. They rang back. Ben made me answer. And he went, can you come to the hospital today? I said, no, I'm in London. Can you come on Monday? I can't. No, I'm busy. And Ben was looking at me like, and she said, are you on your own? I said, no, I'm with my husband. Can you just put him on the phone to verify you're sure? I was like, yeah. And she said, are you about to drive? No, can you put me back on? It's not the news we hope for, Amy. You really do need to come in. And that's how I was told, really.
Wow.
And then I just went, Ben just looked at me. We're in London and we're about to go in and have a dance lesson with our coach from LA. And he just looked at us and he was like, everything all right, guys? And he was with me at the highest and my lowest moments of my life. And I just looked at him and said, I got cancer. And he was like, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to dance. Yeah. And him and my husband, I think for like the next 2 hours, were looking at each other like, what the hell? But he was with me. He flew over to be there for when Ben and I won the British Championships. And I was with him when I found out I got Strictly. So he was there for my 2 biggest accolades in my life, but also the lowest part of my life. And then afterwards, he said, because we were meant to have had lessons, the following day and the Monday, he said, you need to go home and you need to go to the hospital, Amy. And I was just like, no. And Ben was like, Amy, we're going home. We're getting on the train. Yeah. And then the next day we went in and I'd rang my twin sister, crying my eyes out, screaming, it's cancer. So she got in a car. She came up with us to the appointment. My parents were on holidays and then we navigated it together, how we were going to break the news to my parents as well.
What went through your mind when they told you had cancer?
I think I was scared because I knew I was young and I thought this isn't good at my age. And everything I'd read online wasn't good if you got it younger. The chances of survival were lower. And I think height of my career, and I had such a big year planned, and I thought, I haven't got time for this. And I thought, this isn't fair. I'd also watched my mum go through a breast cancer diagnosis. So I think as well, I saw what it can do.
Yeah.
I'd been on some treks with Giovanna Fletcher, so I'd met so many ladies as well. Just watched my best friend go through it, and Ben and I only saw firsthand. Ben was taking the kids to school when she couldn't during chemo, and rallying around her and seeing how it disrupted and everything her life. I think I was also in a bit of denial because I'd found out this was April, May time, and I generally thought I was going to be doing Strictly in July with the pros. I was in absolute denial as well at the time, and I think I didn't really process everything until a year later when I'd returned to Strictly. Because I think in my head I just had to get back dancing again. I thought that would fix everything, but it didn't. I was shelving all my issues.
Yeah.
So I mentally didn't process anything.
So when did you start to process it? When did it hit you?
I thought after everything I'd been through with, a new upper body, losing my hair, chemo, and chemo destroys you. I was rock bottom. And I struggled to walk up the stairs, let alone dance. And all I kept saying to myself, I just got to get back on Strictly. I thought that would make me feel like Amy again, because I didn't look like Amy. I hated looking at myself in the mirror. I didn't feel like me. I'd had everything stripped away from me. But I thought, as soon as I'm back on Strictly dancing, I'll be me. So I returned to Strictly, probably too early, but mentally the right time.
Yeah.
Literally the following season. So 6-7 months after chemo.
Oh my God, bloody hell.
And my hair was like this. I danced with the wonderful JB Gill. And I think as well, I was in the whole effects of menopause and just everything. But in my head, I just had a return. I had to dance again. I thought it was going to fix it, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Everything was still there. Does that make sense? Yeah, I was happy.
Absolutely,
I was back with my best mates on the show I love most in the world. But then afterwards, I was in London on my own in a studio apartment. I would sob for hours because I think I'd realised I just shelved everything because I thought that dancing was going to fix it, and it really didn't. Unfortunately, I had to be pulled out of Strictly, which hurt even more than the year before.
Yeah, really.
From not being able to take part because of chemotherapy. Which is really hard because you're having chemo and knowing what you're missing out on and having to sit watching your best mates whilst you feel so poorly on the show you should have been doing.
Yeah.
The celebs were being announced the week I started chemo, which was just brutal.
Yeah.
And everybody in the world wants to speak about Strictly to you, but it really hurt me.
I bet.
Whilst I was having chemo. But also it made me proud because on the oncology unit, seeing the joy that Strictly brought to people during the toughest times. But I'd returned with JB and I had to be pulled out. I just wasn't well enough. Chemo had weakened my bones. It caused a hairline fracture and I just wasn't well. With all the effects and everything my body had been through, but I just went to a mental all-time low. But I think I had to get to that place to then pull out everything I'd shelved, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, sometimes we have to hit those rock bottoms to be able to move forward. I can relate it to recovery. I had to hit the lowest possible moments to be able to see that there was a journey through it. Do you know what I mean? Life with my family, work and everything else can get a bit chaotic, but staying on top of my health is one thing I know that I can control. For me, it's about keeping it simple and consistent. That's where Vitals by Heights comes in. When I look at my diary, it's packed, right? With kids, the podcast, shows, everything else. It's easy to let my health slip down the priority list. But I've learned that staying consistent with the basics, like my daily health routine, keeps me going through the chaos. 2 small capsules each morning give me everything I need to stay energized, focused, and on top of my game. No complicated routines, no hassle. I need simplicity, and Vitals takes the guesswork out of maintaining my energy and performance. Whether heading for a full day's worth of On The Mend records or chasing after the kids, I know I've got the right fuel to keep up. If you want to make health simple and consistent like I have, click the link in our description and use code OTM20 to get 20% off your first month. If this conversation is helping you at all, please tap follow. It really helps us keep these conversations going. Now, back to the episode.
But I also knew that how much I loved dancing and that spark and the joy it was giving my family again and the joy it gave me. So I knew that I've got to actually process everything I've been through.
Yeah.
And then get myself as fit and strong and as happy as I possibly can be to be back truly loving what I love most.
Yeah.
And I worked so hard in that last year, and I got to go out on tour, Reborn, and I got to come back to Strictly, and I worked on myself so much because I was also distraught the year before. Like, I can't even watch me dancing on Strictly last year with JB when I returned. So I'd lost everything as a dancer, my flexibility, my speed, everything I worked 20 years for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, my body had been through everything. So I knew I wasn't who I was, and I was ready to hang up my dancing shoes, and my husband and my dear friend Carlos, who went on to win Strictly, said no. They said, you just, your cancer's taking so much, it's not taking your dancing back. You can do this, you just got to get fit, strong and healthy again. And they dragged me to that studio every day and did not let me give up. And I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So then last year I got to go out on tour with Carlos. I worked so hard and then got back on Strictly, and I felt stronger and fitter than ever. And it was a real full circle kind of moment, if that makes sense. And I was just so happy and proud, and everybody kept saying to me, you just look happy. And I think I was like really proud of how far I had come in with everything in my life. Okay, I didn't go on to win. I actually come last. But
it's partner's fault.
Isn't it? Never mind. But it was again meant to be. I was at the time gutted. I'd worked so hard to get back on the dance floor for 3 minutes, 1.5 minutes one week and 1.5 minutes the next week, and that's it. But it wasn't meant to be because I was then made the decision with my medical team that my other breast was to come off. So it was meant to be. The universe was looking after me, and it gave me the time for my other mastectomy. But I am really proud. And I think, my advice to anybody going through a cancer diagnosis would be like, when you can, to face the realities, and don't do what I did and just kind of shelve the feelings. But at the same time, maybe it was the right thing for me to do to get through it. I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, we can look back and so many things and go, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we deal with things how we deal with things, right? I mean, do you regret going on Strictly when you did it with JB? Do you regret that time or not?
I do and I don't. And I'm so grateful to the producers always standing by me.
Yeah.
I really, in my mind, I really felt ready for it.
Yeah. That sounds like you needed it.
I needed it. I think I couldn't have gone another year watching it because that was so hard. So I think, had I not, I don't think I would have ever returned to the dance floor. So I did need it. And then it taught me how much I needed to work on my bone strength, my physical fitness, my dancing, but also it made me really have to dig deep mentally.
You've kindly brought some photos in to show that kind of part of your journey. Would you mind showing me them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you're happy to walk us through.
Yeah, so this one, I was at my all-time low. And I don't even recognize myself in the slightest.
When was this one? So
I was in hospital. I'd been through all my rounds of chemo. I'd had sepsis, gone into septic shock.
Oh my God.
My husband and my parents were literally told that it was going to go one way or another in 16 hours because my blood pressure, my heart rate was so low. I was not responding to any treatment. That I was kind of like touch and go.
Had you been told this?
I didn't understand anything that was going on. Lucky enough, intensive care got involved. And lucky enough, in the final hour, my body started to respond. But with that, I had a blood clot in the arm. But then later developed a blood clot on my lung. But at this time, I was so low. Yeah. I'd lost my hair. I was really missing dancing, strictly my normal life. And I can just remember just getting into the ambulance, crying, I'll never dance again. This is how I looked.
Oh my God.
You can't even recognize me, can you?
I cannot. That's
how poorly I was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look what it's...
Yeah.
That treatment.
And my mum said, my mum and dad didn't want to leave me that night at the hospital, my husband.
I bet.
And when I see how far I've come since then, do you know what I mean? It's like, that's only 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
But
that's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at you.
Yeah.
Like,
my husband heard my mum crying in the room next door that night, and my dad. And she was just like, give Amy a break, please. Yeah. Like, you forget what it does to those around you as well.
Yeah.
And for my dad, he had to watch his wife go through 2 cancer diagnoses and his little girl. My mum knowing what every step was ahead of me, what was to come. And I remember when I came round from the sepsis, and I was only after my first round of chemo, and seeing the pain in my parents' eyes. And I think that gave me a bit of determination. I've got to get through this for them.
Yeah.
And I think for my husband, he felt like he was not trying to just pick me up. He was trying to lift and look after them as well, because he just thought they were on borderline of a heart attack because of all the stress they were too going through.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just not tough for you. It's tough for those around as well.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I mean, and you, everything I hear from you is like, it's an amazing attribute you have, and it's like you don't want to inflict anything else on other people, which is like sometimes you have to take that burden off yourself. Do you know what I mean? Which must be really difficult, right?
Yeah.
But like everything I'm hearing, you're like, you don't want to do that. You need to show strength for these people, but you're going through this.
Yeah.
It must be so hard to kind of keep that all inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can remember a nurse come up to me that night when I was lying in the bed and just saying, "I'm here for you, Amy, you know, just let it out. If you need to cry, you need to let it out." Because I think she could see I was trying to be strong when she knew there was a lot. And maybe she thought she could tell I wasn't in a great place mentally.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that at the time. And she was just like, "Yeah, Amy, let it out." And I think then I did cry and I didn't stop.
Yeah, I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. I mean, in recovery, in so many different aspects of it, there are moments when your body and your brain feels like it's working against you.
Yes.
Did you feel like that at the time?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I felt so ready for things, but my body was screaming, "I'm not."
Yeah.
I don't like
you just wanted to be in control of something and you're out of control.
And honestly, the whole time, all I wanted to do was just dance and be back with the gang on Strictly. That's all I wanted. And I do think that's what got me through it as well, having that drive and determination and that passion for something to get me back to where I was or where I want to be. I'm someone who always needs a goal or something to work towards. And maybe, I don't know, the place I would be in now, or would I have pulled myself out of these situations had I not had something to work towards?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful to Strictly for kind of saying bye-bye.
Yeah.
You know, they did everything they could to keep me involved. That year I was having chemo. I went on into terms and conditions board. And I was meant to have done a big dance routine in the semi-final after I finished chemotherapy about my journey. But unfortunately, I broke my foot a couple of days after finishing chemo. But Strictly being Strictly found an amazing way of making me part of it. And in the final, when they did the reveal of the finalists, they put me on a podium and the lighting kind of went boom, boom, and on this one big boom, it was me, and I did some fanography.
Oh, right, great.
And I was totally bored, but I got to dance a bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I never told my twin sister or anyone I was doing it, my parents.
Oh,
my
so they
twin
were
was
surprised.
in the audience,
Oh, wow.
And my friend was next to her who knew I was doing it. And he just started crying. She was like, Diane had just appeared, who's a great friend of ours. And she was like, "Oh, you're emotional for Diane." And he just goes, "No, it's your twin sister." And she looked up and she could see me in a dance competition.
Oh my God,
and my face just lights up. And she was then like a mess. And then that was like bittersweet as well, because I hobbled up in my boot. And then I had to duck down and just watch all the pros do this dance. And I was just like, I just want to be with them, do you know what I mean? And dancing. But it gave me that determination again, You know, that, you know what it's like, a live performance and the adrenaline and hearing the crowd and your heart going just before you're live. I'm so grateful. And then Strictly have me back, dance with JB, having to pull me out, but then still, you know, knowing and didn't stop believing in me. And then I returned last year, and even Sarah James, the exec producer, said to me it was just so lovely to see me happy and healthy last year. So I think they also saw the journey I'd been on and could see that my smile and my energy was back.
I mean, we're just thinking about all this, right? Like, I mean, this is so much for someone to go through, and you're going through it very publicly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like,
I had no choice
must have
as
been
well.
seeing you doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what was that like? Like,
it was hard. I did feel like I didn't have a choice as well, because I'd been announced back on Strictly, you know. They can't like not mention or I'm not there, or I was going to lose my hair, you know. So But also at the same time, I think because of my Crohn's disease and raising awareness for that and doing a documentary, I saw the impact that made. And so I think I was trying to turn a negative situation into a positive and thinking, well, if I could make a difference with Crohn's disease, maybe I can make a difference with breast cancer, raise awareness.
Yeah.
And I think from my first post, when I announced it, I had a lovely young lady reach out to me who was 32, and she had just been diagnosed, had to go for fertility treatment, chemo, and she said, I no longer feel alone. And it connected me, and all of a sudden, from just reading that one message, I realised I'm absolutely doing the right thing. And if I can save one life, then I would be, massively grateful. And I've gone on to so many women daily message me saying, because of you, I've gone to the GP, or I'm checking myself, I found a lump. And I think, that's, a massive positive. And from it, I work with a lovely lady, Gemma, who's had breast cancer, and we have an app, My Breast Friend, and it teaches you how to check yourself, reminds you every month to check yourself.
Great.
And I'm doing all I can to help raise awareness. But, at the same time, I had a lot of negativity as well. People telling me, messaging me nasty things, saying, I'm an attention seeker, I'm a narcissist, look at me.
Those people.
You should get on with it like the rest of us. Or someone wrote to me on a message one night, and I was up in pain and very poorly. Just go in a room and die quietly. Like, you just... Yeah, and...
Fucking hell.
I know. And I had like these packages sent from charities of like things to help you get through chemo that my husband had, people had reached out to him saying, oh, if you get this, and I work with these companies, Little Lifts and that now, and help them, saying that, why is Amy getting all this stuff? My partner message me privately saying, you shouldn't be getting all this stuff. You're really rubbing it in my wife's face. And so I replied, I'm really sorry, I'm not asking for this. Maybe you could do this like my husband did for me. But then he actually turned around and said, I'm so sorry, I should never have messaged you this. And I think he said, like, my wife's just been in hospital. I said, oh, me too, I've got blood clots and the same, and please let her message me, because I always thought as well, when you spoke to people going through it, you really understood. Does that make sense? Like, I've got the most amazing friends and families, but sometimes when someone's been ill going through it, you can really help each other. As well as I had a lot of positives, I also had a lot of negatives. And I was like, and rather than that, hundreds of nice, you focus on those. And still now I talk about some of those messages I received.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't, because really, I've had bits like that, nothing as heavy as that, but and I really kind of came to a point in my life where I was just like, I don't know anyone who I love or who I think is anyway decent who would ever go,
no,
write anything negative. So these people really are just the scum of the world. They feel the need to kind of post something negative on someone else. They're
doing it whilst you're in a very fragile place.
I can't imagine who these people are. So
when you're at your all-time low, you can't sleep in the middle of the night. You're really, really, poorly, lonely. And I would try to educate people. Like, if it wasn't for my loved ones around me, who knows what I could have done when I had those messages. And to just educate people that, what is going to be the ultimate punishment at the end? There's got to be something done about it, because, technically you can lead to somebody making, a huge, a really bad mistake because of that nasty message that you sent them at the absolute vulnerable time of their life.
Yeah. It's fucking shit.
Yeah.
In your book, Dancing in the Rain, you shared the important role that kind of Tom and G Fletcher had on you and your diagnosis. What exactly is that? So
Strictly paired me with Tom Fletcher.
Yeah.
I was over the moon being a McFly fan, sorry.
But I'm also a McFly fan.
Yeah, you could have had Tom in the band, but you didn't.
Let's not go
So unfortunately, I'm Team Tom. And I can remember even going to McFly HQ to be paired with him. And I was just like an excited puppy, do you know what I mean? So happy. G really wanted me to have Tom as well. She was with Emma that day. I'd been watching her on Good Morning Britain in the morning, because they were about to go on a Copperfield trek.
Right,
the two of them. And literally they were asking, and Emma was going, Tom's going to win. And G literally because she has the same makeup artist who works on Strictly, and so she'd been doing G in the morning and coming over to do me for Strictly, and she was like, Giovanna, I really want you to have Tom. I was like, I really wanted to meet Tom too. And so when I turned up to McFly HQ, I knew it, and I screamed going in.
Great.
And it was such a great time, and instantly getting to know Tom and G, I saw and learned from them the importance of the Copperfield charity which you have trekked with. Emma's trekked with, and they had a very close friend who unfortunately lost her life to a misdiagnosis for breast cancer very, very young, and I think wanted to do all they possibly could to raise awareness and get people checking their chests. And I could really feel a passion with them, and we become such good friends. And then G rings me up, was like, do you want to come on a trek? And I was like, okay. It's like 2 weeks before my wedding, so I cannot break my foot.
Yeah,
and she's
absolutely.
Like, and I was literally going off the trek onto my hen do. So I went on this trek, and it was amazing. As you know, I'm very emotional. And on this trek, I was, hearing the incredible stories of all these ladies who are walking with breast cancer, been through it, walking for a loved one they lost. And a lot of them are in their 20s. And I can remember getting back to my tent that night going, oh my goodness, and just being so overwhelmed with emotion, and then thinking, I'm a hypocrite. I'm here trekking to raise awareness, to check yourself, and I don't. So I used it, my mission, to learn how to check myself, which is what ultimately led me to find my lump.
God.
Without them and Strictly not pairing me with Tom Fletcher, I wouldn't be alive.
Oh my God,
today.
wow.
And I had grade 3, the most aggressive type of cancer. I ended up having 2 types of breast cancer, which is not, it is very uncommon. One of which they didn't realise until after my mastectomy. And there was another tumour in one that they didn't even realise when they went in for surgery. My lump had doubled in size within a month. So it was very aggressive.
God.
So, it is... Without them, I literally wouldn't have checked. Do you know what my mum only said to me recently? When I came back from that trek, I'd got to their house in Wales, because they live in Wales, and that's where my hen do was. And I said, Mum, there were so many people who'd had a double mastectomy, and recently I'd had a double mastectomy. She said, Amy, I remember you saying that to me. And then she says, and I keep thinking, and a couple of years later, you've had a double mastectomy. She said, you wouldn't. She said that you saying that, it just keeps replaying in my mind, and just a couple of years later, here I am, sat in the same place with a double mastectomy. It's quite hard to believe.
So when you made that decision to have the double mastectomy, what was that decision-making process?
So the first one, I had no choice, ultimately. And then the second one, a year later, they'd found specks on the other breast, and I had to go through biopsies, and it was just a change, and having to go through all that again, and the worry of it being back. Obviously, my age, I'm young. It's a hormone-fed cancer. I want children. I don't want to go through chemotherapy again. And with changes to my breast, with an MDT meeting, that's like a disciplinary meeting with your oncologist, your surgeon, the radiologist. A decision was made that, for me, the right thing to do was to take the other breast off. And I think as well, because there is a thing called anxiety, the fact that after every scan I was getting called back because of changes, it just was worrying.
You don't need that worry in your life. If you can take away any worry from your life, you should totally do that.
Exactly. And obviously I do want to come off treatment to hopefully one day have a child, and then that increases my chances. And how young I am anyway, and the percentage would go up every year of the chances of it coming back anyway.
Wow.
And it was just, and we found out other family history of breast cancer and everything, kind of the advice and how I was feeling inside. It was the right thing to do. After, what I'd been through with my scans and the changes to my breast.
Absolutely. It sounds like the right thing to do.
And just being so young and already having those changes, whilst after having everything I'd been through and still, being in menopause and taking medication, I'm still having changes to my breast. It was the right thing to do.
I mean, you mentioned fertility as something that you were right about at the start. I mean, it's kind of something that I think any young couple has to kind of address.
We weren't even prepared as well.
It
was 2 weeks after I had my mastectomy. So I got diagnosed, had my mastectomy, and 2 weeks later I had to start injecting myself for fertility treatment. We'd been pushed into, obviously, we had to go in and see the consultant, and we knew nothing about it. And all of a sudden we were having to make very important decisions with absolutely no education behind it. Or we took my dear friend Jenny, had been through it, to come into the room with us, because my twin sister was coming to a lot of appointments with us, but she's a midwife and had to work. Having somebody in the room with us, because Ben and I would always hear what we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And she would always go like, okay, but this is what, like...
This is what you actually heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Jenny came with us to make sure, because we were making such an important decision, that we were going to make the right ones, not emotional ones.
Yeah.
Oh, just to kind of help us to, you know, when you've got somebody hearing it all factually, to then when we had to make decisions afterwards. And it was such a difficult, process and time to be with. And then we were really scared. What if we find there's issues with either of us? We haven't got time, because I was starting chemo weeks later. Then it was you're put into conversations that you shouldn't be having, like 6 months after being married. Like, we had the option of eggs, but then the chances of embryos would be more successful. But then embryos, if we were to split up or for anything to happen, that could be my chances of a mother becoming a 0 in the future.
Oh my God, what conversations to be having?
Yeah, we had to have these decisions.
Oh my God.
And then I had to, and then Ben, bless him, said to me, Amy, if anything ever happened to us, he was like, I would never deprive you of being a mother.
Yeah.
He said, regardless, I know what it means. And he said, we've been through so much together. Like, we've run the British together, to getting married, to setting up a dance school. He was like, we've got far too much history. But also, we shouldn't be having those discussions. You've just got married.
Yeah.
But also then the worry if anything was happened to either of us, if I'd only have eggs, or there was so many of the conversations.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that was very difficult to for us to have and to process, when I was already in a very emotional place.
Yeah. I mean, that's on top of the conversations that you're having to have about everything you're going through at the moment anyway. So you're having to go through this thing in the moment, which is the biggest news anyone could possibly ever get. And you're having to think about future news. Like, there must be so much to it. Like, how do you, like, how are those conversations between the two of you? I can only imagine.
Yeah. It was a really, really difficult time for us. And I think we're stronger than ever now. At the time, I was very, very snappy, on edge, and Ben was very understanding to that. And when you're going for a fertility treatment, they chuck a load of hormones in you, but my emotions were already heightened, never mind with all that added hormones as well. And I couldn't even inject myself, so Ben was having to do that. And it was really, really tough. And I also didn't want to do chemotherapy, but all my loved ones knew around me that I needed it and I had to do it. But they felt they were treading on eggshells, because I was finding every excuse not to have it.
Yeah.
So he was also dealing with that as well. And I can actually remember it was the day I shaved my hair off. I couldn't find Ben, and I opened the office door and he was crying in there. And I can remember texting my sister, and she was like, just leave him, he needs it. Like, he didn't want to get upset in front of me. Yeah. And I think Ben the entire time was constantly trying to be strong in front of me, because he couldn't look upset in front of me.
Well, it sounds like you make a perfect pair.
Yeah, but at the time, like, it was... it certainly wasn't the honeymoon period after a wedding, like it should have been, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's the situation no one wants to have to deal with, especially after just a wedding and honeymoon, and just straight into that. Must have been so much, babe. Must have been so much.
And at the same time, we were running a business, and we're both self-employed, and we didn't know. I went from a full diary to having to block everything out. We didn't know when I was going to work again. To Ben needing to take time off to look after me. I had chemotherapy, and we run a dance school full of children who obviously carry bugs. And I had sepsis after one. So there was constantly the fear of, should he be going to work and putting me at risk? There was a lot of stress involved. It wasn't just the cancer, the fertility. it was life's issues. On top of that, we just moved into our new home with all that extra stress. So it was, when I look back, it was an absolutely outrageous, crazy, stressful time.
Yeah.
Which I'm really proud that we've got through.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. At the start of the year, a lot of us set intentions to be healthy, right? Now, some of us might be reassessing these goals or realising we didn't clearly understand our starting point. And that's where Randox Health comes in. On this show, we know how crucial it is to understand where you're at before deciding how to move forward. Your health is no different. That's why I recently used their Everyman Health Assessment. It tests up to 150 health markers like nutrition, hormones, heart, liver, and kidney health, so you'll understand exactly what's happening inside your body. The best part? It's quick and easy. You simply sign up online, visit one of their 40 clinics in the UK and Ireland, and you'll get your results in just 2 hours after your sample reaching their lab. Plus, the option for a follow-up test 6 months later to track your progress. It's smart. It's a proactive way to take control of your health. They also offer an Every Woman health assessment designed specifically for women's health needs. So if you're ready to really understand your health, visit Randox Health today and save 20% on all health checks with the code OTM20. So where are you now in recovery?
So I'm actually really grateful to how far I've come. I'm back in now doing strength training after my last mastectomy, doing everything the right way, learned from the last time. Taking it gradual and celebrating all the little wins, because you don't when you first go through it. I look back and go, I should have tapped myself on the back for all those little wins, but all I could see was the ultimate goal and not the journey between. I'm going back on tour this year with my Strictly champion and best friend Carlos Gu, who is there throughout it all. We did Celebrity Hunted as well, so that's coming out later for Stand Up to Cancer. Nice. And fingers crossed, I don't know yet, I'll be returning to the Strictly dance floor. But at the same time, I'll be doing all I can to help others raise awareness for breast cancer. But and taking my time with the recovery. I still have treatment once a month on the oncology unit. I still have to have a monthly injection, but it's keeping me alive. Yeah. And that's how I see it. And I just see myself as don't get bitter, get better. Yeah. And I met an amazing lady along the way. She was a year or two older than me, Nikki, her name. And unfortunately, when I was halfway through my chemo, she lost her life to breast cancer. And she used the motto, go grab life. And I wore it the day I rang the bell after chemo, a T-shirt saying, go grab life. I thought, I'm going to do that. Do you know what I mean? I've been given a second shot at life. So I'm going to go out there, take every opportunity that comes my way. Hint, hint. Matt do Strictly. And I'm just super grateful to still be here. Yeah. So my dream year would be to another successful tour with Carlos Gu, Reborn, going up and down the country, doing what I love most and sharing my journey through dance. Yeah. Being back on Strictly, a good year on Strictly. Yeah. Even if it's not a win, I would like a win. A Welsh pro's never won the show.
Really?
That's because I'm the only ever Welsh pro to be done. But that'd be nice, wouldn't it, to bring that home to Wales. But if not, just a success for you, just a couple of tens.
If I ever do it, I'm asking for you. Okay.
Yes.
I promise.
He's not going to do it then.
What I love about hearing about all this, right, is that what I get from you so much is that how important goal setting is. Mm-hmm. Like you need something to strive towards, and I love that, because I think otherwise, I've been hearing from loads of people that are in kind of dark places or going through something, especially a lot of people that listen to this are going through kind of addiction battles or kind of mental health crisis, and having something to look forward to or something that can get you through that dark moment is really important. Yeah. Would you say that has been?
Absolutely. I say to when a lot of people reach out or connect to me who have been diagnosed or gone through, a health issue, and I say having that goal, whether it's getting on holidays or getting to the supermarket, getting back to work, or being able to go out with friends, or getting to the theatre, or whatever goal it is. Like for somebody who was getting back to university, that's what can lead you to push through some of those, because it is difficult, like I struggled walking up the stairs after I finished chemo. To now be able to go and do Strictly, or to go and do an hour and a half theatre show of 22 dance numbers, I look back and go,
oh my God, 22 dance numbers, Jesus Christ.
Your worst nightmare.
But
but everyone's individual. There's no textbook on how to deal with a cancer diagnosis. So how I do it might not suit everybody. But for me, having those goals to achieve, and I think it's remembering as well, setting little realistic goals along the way, and remembering to give yourself a pat on the back when you've achieved it, like all those, like the little builds ups towards that goal.
I mean, you've mentioned it briefly, but obviously you've got Crohn's disease as well.
Yes.
So you're dealing with a cancer diagnosis, going through that treatment. You've also got Crohn's disease and work, family, marriage, like all this. That's a lot to deal with. How do you deal with all that stuff at one time?
I think for the first time from when I can remember, the Crohn's disease was at the front of my mind, or the biggest worry for me, because I have had Crohn's disease since I was 11 years old. I wasn't diagnosed till I was 19, but all the symptoms and everything, I had it since I was 11. And all of a sudden, those worries of, am I going to have a flare-up, end up in hospital? Or can I eat this? Can I do that? What about my Crohn's? For the first time in my life, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And actually, it's been able to teach me since that I can lead a full life, not worrying about it.
Right.
Unfortunate that I had to go through a cancer diagnosis to learn that. And don't get me wrong, I'm still affected every day from my stomach issues, but I guess it learned that I didn't need to have the anxiety and stress around it like I did, that I can, focus on other things. And I guess from having so many hospital admissions, scans, tests, injections, drips, tubes up my nose and down, you name it, from such a young age, the thought of long hospital stays, scans and everything like that wasn't new to me.
Right.
I'd already been through it, and I did see that as like a positive to many people I know from sitting on the oncology unit having chemo in those chairs. Like, they'd never even had to have more than a blood test before, so having a cannula or a port fitted was so, scary, and the thought of a hospital stay was. Whereas, unfortunately for me, there was a norm.
Yeah. So you feel like in some ways it was
preparation, really.
It's preparation. Wow. And now it feels like so you put less anxiety now for Crohn's?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I try not to worry. I'd worry going on holidays and being on a plane and thinking, what if I have a Crohn's flare up? Or when you're booking work in and that. And actually, for a long period of my life, I wasn't even thinking about it, because it was all about surviving from a cancer diagnosis. And I thought, well, actually, I don't need to give it the attention. It doesn't deserve that.
It doesn't need to be the forefront of my mind at all times.
I have to remind myself still of that. But it really changed my perspective.
If someone is out there listening right now who's at the start or in the middle of a life-changing illness, what is the thing that you'd want them to hear?
I think remember, there's no textbook, but just sometimes, if you can't speak to a loved one, there's so many amazing charities, doctors, nurses out there who will listen to you. Don't go through anything alone. No one needs to go through anything alone. And if you don't have the courage, or you don't feel you can, say it to a friend or a family, please, please, please reach out to your nurses, or get a GP appointment. Go online. There are so many incredible charities, and honestly, a problem shared is so much easier, I promise you, and they'll give you the tools and everything you need. Please, please, please reach out.
On this show, we kind of, a gratitude list is a big thing for us. So we kind of look back at and go, what are we grateful for today? And we kind of list 3 things. So would you mind doing a gratitude list with us?
I am grateful for the entire oncology unit at the Sheldon unit. It's an amazing hospital, Good Hope Hospital, but the Sheldon unit, they're real life heroes. What the nurses do and give to their patients, honestly, they're incredible. So them. I think it's my parents who devoted their lives to us children, me, Lloyd and Rebecca, and helped me in not just my health battles, but going on to achieve my dreams and never, gave up. And then it's got to be my husband and my friends, like, again, who rallied around us. And yeah, I think you can have everything in the world, but unless you've got, your health, your family and friends, there's nothing really to enjoy, is there? So, yeah, for those. Can I have some more? More than three?
More than three. You can have as many as you want, babe.
I think obviously my Strictly family.
Yeah.
Literally, my students at the dance school, to my dance teachers. Like, honestly, I'm just so grateful to so many things. Yeah, and I think, there's so much doom and gloom in the world, but I think if you're looking out for positivity and love, you find it. And just to remember that.
What you said today really reminds me, like, so much of the hidden battles that people fight. In recovery, we kind of all fight these hidden battles that we don't tell anybody about, or that the battles that nobody sees. Thank you so much, Amy. You've been amazing. And I really, really appreciate you coming in and telling everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you found this conversation with Amy resonated with you, please follow On The Mend wherever you get your podcasts, and drop us a follow on Instagram for the latest updates. Go buy Amy's book, which is out now, which we've got a copy of right here, Dancing in the Rain. It's out now. And she's also going on tour. When are you off on tour?
So we're on tour end of May, all of June. Check it out, Reborn. I'm with my fabulous best friend, Carlos Gou, reigning Strictly champion. And I'm sure we'll be at a theatre near you.
Amazing. Well,
you're going to have to come.
I would love to come. I would love to come. Do you know, I can't wait. And to know I'm not having to dance would be great.
Well, I could get you up.
Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you.